Automatically. So, good morning, everybody. I am delighted to be with you and have this opportunity to share with you some tried and tested and some proven ideas for how we can take our knowledge, our experience, our expertise and turn it all into ongoing streams of cash and be helping more people with what it is that we help them with, whether we solve problems or we help them capitalize on their opportunities. Now, there's quite a lot of people just joining right at the moment because we're smack on 10 o'clock in the morning. So I'll just probably say some of these things again because I want to make sure that so many people, hundreds of people, 323 people have signed up to come to this today. Some people obviously just turn up afterwards for the recordings and things. We're going out for the first time on LinkedIn Live, so that is just fabulous to be doing that. We've got people here from Facebook. We've got people here who've joined up in Eventbrite. We've got people who've been on our normal company list as well, that they know me, and so they're joining as well. And people joining from outside an art gallery in Manchester, so that is wonderful. It's Sue Terry. Good morning, Sue, to you. So as more and more people are joining us now, and I'm seeing lots of admits going on, let me just do a few of those. Let me start it all over again. Delighted to be with you and have this opportunity to share with you tried and tested and proven ideas for how we can take our knowledge, our experience, our expertise, and what I call the magic ingredient, and turn that into a vast variety of different informational products, but certainly starting with a book. Now, let me just get onto my slides and I'll move these various things. I'm going to do a quick mute all to make sure that we've got a nice clean recording for this because we are recording it, and I'll mute everybody and do it in that way. And let's get onto my slides and we'll start to talk about some great things. As you know, today is the Book Writing Kickstart Online Workshop. However, it's the Business Book Writing Kickstart Online Workshop. So what I would suggest would be a good idea would be to close your email, close any other browsers, obviously not this one, have your note-taking advice ready, because boy do I go at a pace, and I've got so many tried and tested and proven ideas to share with you. And as it's often said, even the bluntest pencil is sharper than the sharpest memory. So please take lots and lots of notes. Something else that's happening today, I don't know if you knew about this, but this is happening as well, is we're having a prize draw. And that prize draw is worth £1,000. And of course, I will be doing that right at the end today. And you've got to be in it to win it. So I've got a wonderful app on my phone that generates random letters, and I'll do it live and show it to you. And then the letter will come up and it'll be the person's surname beginning with that particular letter. So that we're going to be doing that. So let me ask you this question then. What is the difference? Oh no, there's something I need to tell you first. And that is, come back to me, I don't have all the answers. I've been in business now for, would you believe, 51 years. I mean, just look at this face. It's not possible, is it? 51 years, yeah, 51 years in business, and I still don't know all the answers. In fact, I keep on learning. I believe this, that the day we stop learning is the day we stop earning. So we've got to make sure we're learning new ideas. And you, like me, because you're here today, are a lifelong learner. So if we come back to this slide, let me ask you this question. What is the difference between coaches, consultants, speakers, trainers, accountants, people who charge fees, people like me and you? What's the difference between those people who succeed and those people who don't succeed? What is it that's making that difference? Please put your answer in the chat box. And I'll be having a look at the chat here. What would it be? Just answer in the chat. What might it be that you think is the difference between those people who succeed and those people who don't succeed? Right, and I'm just having a quick look at the chat box here to see what's coming up, okay? Obviously, somebody's getting something with the sound. One more, Noel, really? Gosh, you don't look that old, Noel. So, repeatability. Oh, that's a nice one. Hang on, let me just put that up here. Go. There you go, Steve. There was your comment. I don't know if you know, I'm going to be doing that occasionally when you put comments in. Steve says repeatability. Let me see what else we've got. So, take that one down from him. Visibility. Let me take Steve's down. Let me get back. Let me get rid of you, Steve. There you are. And then you brought you back in and I get rid of you again. There it is. Mindset. Yes. Goals. Yes. Price and value, consistency, doing things in a certain way from Tim Rampton. Good morning, Tim. Let's put that comment up there. From Tim Rampton, then doing things in a certain way. Credibility and awareness from Bill. Still trying to work that out from Andrew. Very good. Perseverance to follow a decent plan from David. So true. These are some wonderful ideas, really great ideas that you're putting through there. Let me give you my take on it is this. is the difference between those people who charge fees, coaches, consultants, speakers, trainers, people like me and you, accountants, who help people solve their problems or help them capitalize on their opportunities. It might be that one, or it might be that one. The difference, I believe, is this: their ability to market and sell their products and services. When I look at those people who are succeeding, what I'm noticing is there are people who are succeeding and their information's good, and there's people who are succeeding and their information's great. So it isn't the quality of our information. It sometimes can be how handsome we are, because our face makes a difference. So I'm looking at people that I've known for many years here, you know, and we're all getting a little bit older. So we've got to make the best of ourselves, haven't we? You know, we've got to polish the head up in the morning, the old pink crash helmet, and have a good shave and look the best we possibly can, because the difference is, this is absolutely the truth of it is, it's their ability to market and sell their products and services. And here's why. Because all communication is an attempt to persuade someone else to do or avoid doing something, either now or in the future. And this is really important. So it can be their location, it can be their gender, it can be their age, it can be their appearance, it can be the quality of their content, but it really all comes down to our ability to communicate persuasively. And when we're thinking about that, what that comes into, it's their ability to market and sell, and in there comes their identity. That identity plays a major factor in our success. And of course, within that identity, and appropriate to our conversation today, is their authority. And what's lovely about the idea of this is, as we know, that is spelled author, I-T-Y. That's how authority is spelt. It's spelled author, I-T-Y. So if we want to have established authority in our marketplace, then what we need to be thinking about is we need to be thinking about how can we be an authority? Well, we become an author. That's one of the first and easy things to do. So today, just as a reminder for you, today was labeled not as a conversation from Peter, it was labeled as a workshop. This is going to be a workshop today. It's a kickstart workshop. By the end of today, you will have your book started. Right? You'll know what it's all about. You'll know exactly what to do, step by step, and what we're going to do today. So that's what we're going to be doing today, is we're going to be positioning you as the natural, logical, and emotional choice for your ideal client. That ideal person, you know the sort of people I mean, the people that you absolutely love to work with. So let me just change my slides in some way for a moment or two. If I went back there for a minute and then I move myself quickly on here, then what we're going to be doing is, these are the things I'm going to be talking about today with you. How to overcome any hesitation and take your knowledge, your experience, your expertise, and what I call the magic ingredient, by the way, which we'll come back to, and finally, based on the conversations I've had with so many people, finally turn them into your very own book. And to do all that without ever worrying about what to put in, what to leave out, or even how long it's going to take. We're going to talk about how to stand out from the crowd and get people to read your words and be moved to action by them. And of course, doing that without ever wasting money on non-performing ads or wasting your time on non-productive posts and videos. We don't want to be doing any of that. And finally, how to turn your newly minted book, isn't that a lovely expression, your newly minted book into ongoing streams of cash without having to massively increase the amount of time you spend delivering your content. So, what I want to share with you then is I want to find out, particularly from you, what I'm going to do is some of the obstacles that you've been running into. And when I've shared all of these ideas that I've just mentioned now with you, when I've shared all of those, about half of them, maybe a bit more, I'm going to share with you also the journey that I'm on in my life. And if appropriate for you, invite you to come and join me on. It's not going to be some big sell. Many of you know me well enough. I don't indulge in that type of stuff, but I'll share where I'm going, and who knows, you might want to come and do it with me. And then right at the end, this is what I'm going to share with you. I'm going to share with you the book creation checklist. As I mentioned, all the marketing we've done. It's a 27-point checklist. I'm going to go through the key parts of that for you. And I'm going to give you a copy of it, by the way. And that's essential to make certain you've included everything you want to include in your book. I'm going to talk to you about the ultimate lead magnet, which absolutely is a book. If you want to find those clients who normally don't appear on lists somewhere, You see, here's the problem. If you sell snakes, you can probably find a list of people who own snakes, right? You can probably do that because they'll be buying food for snakes. Let's not get into the detail of that, but they'll be buying food for snakes, right? But it's very difficult to find a list of people who are thinking about buying snakes because then they don't appear on the list. So what do you have to do? Well, I'm going to show you that. I know the answer to that question. Obviously, we're going to talk about the prize draw, which is worth £1,000 as well. I'm going to tell you just 15 of the 79 ways I know to repurpose that content that you've got and turn it into other streams of cash so you can help more clients more easily, more often, and still get paid even when you're not in the room. How about that for a great idea? And as you apply these proven ideas, and they are tried and tested and proven ideas, it's going to increase your significance in your marketplace. It's going to increase your income, and it's going to allow you to do what I've been very fortunate to be able to do in my life, which is build for myself a business and a life of choice, where I have freedom. That's what building a business, that's what I want for you, is to build a business and life of choice. If you don't already have one, or increase the one that you already have, where you get to choose when you work, how you work, who you work with, where in the world you work, how much money you earn, and all the freedoms you could possibly imagine, all the freedoms from and all the freedoms to. Question, is that what you came for? And if it is, please put me a capitalised yes with at least one exclamation mark in the chat box, please. And I'm looking at the chat box over here on my other screen. All right. Fantastic ideas going on here. Thank you all for the brilliant ideas that you've been adding in. Right. Where are we then? Right, are we getting some yeses in the chat box? Of course, I know what happens, of course, with the LinkedIn Live. I don't see their chat box as Rachel sees that because there's a latency issue with LinkedIn. It might take 15 to 20 seconds for by when I've said something to start to appear actually in the chat box. So we're getting some yeses here. We're getting yeses. Already loving the energy. Thank you, Andrew. Yes from David. And she's monitoring it. Oh, loads of exclamation marks. Yes, I like it, Darren. Yes, 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 yes. That is wonderful. Lovely to see so many old friends there. Sorry, older friends. Did I say that right? Yeah, probably did actually. So let me talk about then your obstacles. So I want to find out from you, what are the, I've got a slide for this somewhere. Let me go. Here we go. What are the obstacles that you feel are getting in your way between where you are now and where you want to be in the future? What are those obstacles that are getting in the way? Again, if you're happy to share, please share in the chat box and just put those in there, and we'll see what some of these obstacles are to make sure that we're going to be covering those obstacles throughout the course of our session today. Remembering, this is a workshop. This isn't a seminar or a webinar. This is a workshop. A swig of my tea. Okay, too much on. You know, I get this so often. Other priorities. Imposter syndrome. How dare you? We won't be having any of that. How to find your audience. I'll talk to you about that. How best to publish the book. Julie, we're going to be doing that today. We're going to answer all of these questions, by the way. What are we doing? Finding the time. In fact, let me just do this and I'll throw this up. Stuart says finding the time. A lot of people have said that to me. Starting up blues. I'm going to put that one up. That's a nice one. I like that one. And, oh, David, I like that answer. David, I don't know. Okay. Socializing and procrastination. So Noel says, I've written, in fact, let me put this comment up. Noel says, I've written a physical book and 2 ebooks, but I haven't generated any much money from them yet. We'll put on the end of that comment. Time, need to do fee-paying work to pay for life, which gets in the way of writing. I tell you now, seriously, Andrew, let me put this comment up from Andrew. It's not going to get in the way. Trust me, it will not get in the way. I'm going to show you exactly how to get past that problem. Absolutely right. So let me come back to me for a moment, and I would like to give you just a little bit, I'd like to give you a little bit of background on where this is all going. So I've been in business now since 1972. Hang on, let me just say it, all the way back there in 1972. Wowee. And Rachel, my PA, wonderful PA, joined me at that time, which is she joined we've been working together for 38 years, can you believe? You know, we are long-term people, we really are. Sharon, my wife, and I, we've been married 41 years. We're long-term, you know, commitment, relational type people, not transactional. And I was great business. I got involved as a private detective to start with. I was a private dick, had a lot of fun, and I built up a tracing agency, tracing absconded debtors. And within 2 years, we were the biggest tracing agency in Europe, being asked to trace, this is the real number, over 4,000 people a month. 4,000 people a month, and we created a system, and this is what we need, a system. Yeah, Rachel's put, I'll put this comment up actually. Rachel says this, look, 1986 we first met, would you believe, 38 years ago. So from there, from being a private dick, let me get rid of that, thank you. Such a lie, not even 36, thank you, Steve. So we got into bugging and debugging in the early days of car phones when it was press to speak, release to listen. I'd have some fascinating conversations with you sometime, but I don't want to take the time today. From there, I started a company called Compass Leasing, which was a leasing business, which was wonderful. We had a great team of people, 65 staff. We built it up to over a few years, 5 years. And then I sold that for a few £1 million and I retired. And I was 42. And then unfortunately, the company I sold out to, the shares was a public company, main board public company, shares fell out of the sky, cost me £3 million, which wasn't quite all the money, but a chunk of it. And I had to start again. And here I am, a number of years later, doing what I love to do and building a business and enjoying a life of choice. And that's what I want to do for you. And the way that started was, and I know this is so appropriate to all of us because we're learners, is that I received a piece of direct mail. Do you remember that stuff? Direct mail from Nightingale Conant for one of their audio programs. And it was called this. And here it is. It was called Lead the Field. This is the actual program. You can see how wrinkly it is, unlike me. But this is wrinkly after all of these years, right? And here he is on the back, the famous and wonderful Earl Nightingale, Lead the Field. And I listened to that program and I applied the ideas, and that's what enabled me to sell the business. And so once I'd sold the business, I created an audio program of my own because I thought, what shall I do with myself now that all the shenanigans had gone on with the share price? And I went to Nightingale Conant with my new program, and I'd created all the marketing for it as well. And I'd recorded it. It wasn't just an idea, it was a physical product. And they said, Peter, we like it, we like you. It's not quite our marketplace, but would you start our relationship, please, by revoicing Lead the Field for the UK market? I mean, Lead the Field, the strangest secret in there, has a gold disc. It sold 1 million copies. I've seen the disc in America in their Chicago office. And so I said, yes, of course I did. And so this is the version that I did, Lead the Field. And you can see on the back, there is Earl Nightingale up there, and there is me in a suit and a tie, would you believe, and a lot more hair, all those years ago when I recorded that for the English market. And that was the start of me writing and recording information. And from there, I just got completely into informational products, sharing my knowledge, experience, expertise, and this magic ingredient, which we'll be talking about a lot. So I think that's what we want to be doing, these things. So now where I'm at is I've written 7 tips booklets. Here's the different tips booklets. I'll put some on my desk ready. We'll talk about tips booklets. I've written, how many books I've written? Oh, I don't know, about 8 or 9, I suppose. This was my first book called Sell Your Way to the Top. It was in 1993. I actually put a little sticker in there. 1993, published by Kogan Page, right? Sell Your Way to the Top. And then swiftly followed by 2 more books, The Secrets of Communication, which I did with Simon & Schuster, and then The Pinnacle Principle, and then a load more of these. And I've got no idea what some of these are, actually. There you go. There's one of mine. Don't know, picture of me on it, so it must be me. There's another one of mine. I know it's me, but there we go. And then here's a cracking book I wrote. This is a book with no title, and it says there's no strapline either. So that was a nice, interesting title. I did this book here lovely book called Riches. And I did this with Jill Fielding. It was an anthology book, so that might be an idea for you. Get a few people together, do an anthology book with more authors. And some of the authors in here, you might know some of these people. Jill Fielding, Ted Nicholas, Brian Tracy, T. Harv Eker, John Spencer Ellis, John D. Martini, Laurel Langmeyer, Duncan Bannatyne was in there, James Kahn, all sorts of great people. And we filmed them all as well and made a program out of it, but that was called Riches. And a recent one, I wonder if you've ever thought about doing this, about writing books for your kids or your grandkids. I wrote a book for my sons, right, with my wife Sharon. I wrote this, and it was called this. Right? Now, how about that for a cracking title for your kids to learn that lesson in life, right? It's an early lesson to learn, isn't it? And it was my idea. It's just, look, so simple, just a tip on every page, right? And then my wife Sharon, she wrote one, which a lovely title. I'll read it to you as well. It's a bit difficult to see. It says, "How to be a complete bitch and have everybody love you for it." which again is just another little cracking title, isn't it? And the third one we did was this, because I've seen so many kids do this. It was called Don't Eat for the Waiter. Right. In other words, you know, the waiter comes along, you're in a restaurant, you haven't eaten it all, they say, didn't you enjoy it? You say, yeah, it was just too big. So anyway, so all of these things, and the great thing is then what you can do, and then I wrote this one, which I then retitled, and I'm going to talk about retitling as well. So that's all the sorts of things. So today's session is all about getting you kick-started, writing your book. So in the chat box, I want you to do this for me, please. If you have already written a book, put yes. Not yet, please. If you've written 2 books, put 2 yeses. 3 books, 3 yeses, etc. And then put a no if you haven't. And if you put some yeses, put a bracket behind it and put yes or no as if it's working for you, i.e. making leads, making money, whatever it might be. So yes, I've written one. Yes, it's working. Yes, I've written one. No, it's not working. No, I haven't written one. So what have we got here? No, 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 no. Not published yet. Okay, well done, Terry. No, no, no. Yes, just published. Well done. Yes, yes, but not working. No, no, no. See, not yet. Yes, yes, and yes. Good. I'd like to hear that. Well done, Bill. Yes, yes, and no. No, yes, and not published. Great. That's given me some great ideas there. And no doubt Rachel will add some more bits and pieces in there as well, which is just fantastic. Okay, excellent stuff. Where are we there? This is wonderful. So let's get going on this bit then. Most of the people I speak to say this. They say, Peter, I've always wanted to write a book. And this is the key thing that absolutely stops people in their tracks. And therefore, what we've got to do, we've got to get the answer of this. What we're going to do with this is we're going to build some bricks at the bottom of your pyramid of success as an author, ITY. In other words, as an authority. So let me ask you this question. Here we go. Let's get that to work. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, okay. If you don't want to do it that way, we'll do it this way. You can do it another different way. Thank you. Okay, slides. Here we are. Slides. Right, so here we go. Why do you want to be an author? Why do you want to be an author? Everything's working today. All right, well, I'll have to do it in a different way then. Right, here we go. Why do you want to write a book? Why is it that you want to write a book? Just have a think for the moment for yourself and think to yourself, why is it that you want to write a book? And write it down for yourself. You can put it in the chat box if you want to. And I'm going to give you some of the benefits of doing so, but it's entirely up to you if you feel that you would like to do that. I'm just trying to see if I can find my other bits and pieces to make something else work. I want to make work, but it isn't coming up at the moment. But I will sort it in a minute or two. Won't be a problem. So, why do you want to write a book? You know, it's the old expression, and it's a bit trite and old and hackneyed, but it's still true. With a big enough why, the what and how appear. If you don't know why, you probably won't try. And all those other great expressions about why. But if we can find out what is the why that's driving us, so that then we can say to ourselves, I want to write a book because, right, hang on a second, I want to write my book because, yeah, then that will really help us. I want to write my book because, okay. So if you wanted to share any of that, I would be delighted to see that. Right, folks, is the clarity to entertain, absolutely recurring income. That's wonderful. And in fact, let me give you a couple of those ideas by giving you some of the benefits of why people do write books. So let me come back to me for the moment or two. And I'm going to have to do my slides in a different way for some reason. Okay, doesn't matter. I'll go there. Right. Which is a shame, but still. So here I'm going to give you a list, a rapid list of why it's a good idea. Some great ideas coming up for you, by the way, in the chat box. So it's establish your authority. Firstly, it establishes your authority. It's proof of your expertise, confirms your status, if you like, as a thought leader in your niche. So it's really important. It enhances your credibility. You might make a note of some of these. It enhances your credibility. It's the best method I've ever known for lead generation. It is the absolute best thing for lead generation. I would urge you, if for no other reason, to be certain that to make your book, you're going to make a fantastic lead generator. It increases fees. Now, why does it do that? Well, there's a funny thing. I've taught a lot of people to write books over the years, and I see what happens. And I've got one particular person in my mind, Sally Hindmarch, and she was walking in with her new book to a seminar that we were doing. And she walked in as a different person. Her shoulders were back, her head was up. She was anyway a very positive person, and she taught wonderful public speaking. She was great at it and still is. And she just had this different look on her face, this inner power, this radiance. And when you do that, it shines out of you and people realize. And authors, I've found, tend to raise their fees without any problems. Because suddenly they go into a meeting, this is a little technique I use, by the way. You go into a meeting with a potential client, and one of the first things you do after you're prepared opening and all the rest of it, you go, oh, that's a lovely diffuser, by the way, that little OH word, lovely diffuser in communication. Oh, I brought you a copy of my latest book. And you hand your book over, and you say in a very gentle voice, would you like me to sign it? And you wait to see what happens. And I've never had anybody say no, right? Because I think it perhaps would be impolite. But I've also never had an occasion where I didn't do, open quotes, the business with somebody I gave a book to. It is the most amazing thing for changing your credibility, your perception, your significance, you in your chosen marketplace. So that's another one of the things, increased fees. Let's look at when people write the book. Well, we're looking at these major benefits, by the way. I'll give you an idea. Politicians do this. They write their book after they've stopped their politicking. For example, Barack Obama published The Promised Land in 2020, 4 years after his presidency. Sports people publish, well, they're at the height of their powers and their knowledge and exposure in the marketplace, at the height of their fame. Michael Jordan, For the Love of the Game, was published during his playing career. Serena Williams, her first autobiography called On the Line, was published in 2009. She was still actively competing, one of the top players in the world. Now, business leaders, they do it when they become famous. Some of them do it a little bit earlier. For example, Richard Branson published Losing My Virginity in 1998, so that was early in his success, but very successful. Scientists and academics, they do it when they're in the midst of doing their scientisting things. For example, Stephen Hawking's Brief History of Time, published in 1998, was when he was actively researching. And Neil deGrasse Tyson's, and this is a wonderful title, Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. What a cracking title that one is, right? Was published during his tenure as a director of the Hayden Planetarium. Journalists and writers, as the final one, Malcolm Gladwell, for example, was doing when he was still writing for the New Yorker. So this makes such a difference, is deciding when we're going to do it. Now, for us as speakers, trainers, coaches, consultants, accountants, people who make a difference to people's lives, we need to do it now. If you haven't done it now, do it now, right? Don't let perfectionism hold you back. Get it done. The earlier you do your book, the sooner. I started in this game, because it is a game, it's the wonderful game of life, in about 1991 and a half, right? And I published my first book, as I mentioned to you earlier, in 1993. Right, about a year to 18 months after I'd started, right? So who was I to do that? Well, if you've got to worry about credibility, let me give you the answer to this. Put the credibility on the content. Just like Napoleon Hill did with Think and Grow Rich. Napoleon Hill was a journalist, right? Those ideas in there are not his. It's his take on those ideas of the people he interviewed. Those are all he interviewed with successful men only, it was at that time, in America. And he went to them and asked them what made them successful and put that in the book. And he became well known for it. So he became known for Think and Grow Rich, because it was all about his take on those ideas. So put the credibility on the content to start with, and then it'll begin to rub off on you as well. Do not let any lack of credibility or, for heaven's sake, imposter syndrome, how dare you, stop it, right? Get in the way of you. You have knowledge, experience, expertise, and here's the magic ingredient, your take on it. It's your take on it where the money is. Why? Because nobody else has that. I remember going to see in an early company I was doing some sales training for in the very early days when I started in this business, this game. And I'll tell you who it was Kalamazoo. And I was talking to Mike Hopkinson, the sales director there, say 30 odd years ago. And I quoted him my fees, and Mike said to me, Peter, he said, I can get sales training down the road for a quarter of that. And I looked at him and I smiled and I said, Mike, not mine, you can't. I don't work there. Now, we have to live in a little village just south of Arrogant, right? Which is north of Confident, south of Cocky, okay? Because we have to be confident about our stuff. and our ability to deliver it. I'll talk more about that as we go through. This is so, so important. So we have to get it done now. It's a wonderful networking tool. You know, you go out and meet somebody and you give them a copy of a book. Let me tell you something that happens, that doesn't happen. You send somebody a book. Do you know anybody who's thrown a book in the bin? People don't throw books in the bins. You might have thrown one. I think I've thrown one in my life, right? I've got annoyed with it, threw it away. People don't, but they don't read the PDFs. They don't always read the stuff they've downloaded on the front screen of their computer until they clear it out one day and don't bother reading them anyway, right? But when you send them a physical book, especially when you send it in a great envelope, I mean, when you send out my latest book, which is called Paid, by the way, I'm shouting now, hopefully you can still hear me, right? When we send out my latest book called Paid, and here it is, yeah, this is Paid, yeah, we send it out in this envelope. You're about to get paid. And it's got their name on it, and it's a bright red jiffy bag. Yeah, I mean, do people throw it away? They better not. No, I don't think they. I don't think they do. I don't think they do. So it's yeah. Bill said in the chat box they even keep the packaging as well. So it's a wonderful marketing asset. It's a client onboarding tool. Fantastic. It's a content source because you can take this and you can repurpose it. Let me give you an idea. This book here, and I'm going to talk about repurposing at the end of today, as you know, sold for £9.99, right? Wonderful ideas. When I filmed those ideas and recorded the audio and made a workbook of it and created a massive 36 module program from that content called the Accelerated Business Growth System, and here's just one of the workbooks, right? That program sold for £3,000. Not £10, right? £3,000, and we sold 600 of them. That's £1.8 million. I've never been paid £1.8 million for the books, right? But I've been paid a lot of money for the ideas. So it's the starting point of your journey to both recognition and reward. This is what we're going to be talking about. Long-term income. It's a phenomenal educational platform. It gives you a competitive edge. It's a referral tool. You get speaking engagements from it. You can use it as a back-of-the-room sale, or you can use it as a conference gift if you're a speaker. The number of times I've said, when I used to be out there on the circuit speaking on things, which I don't do now, I only speak on my own stage effectively, like this, when I would say to the conference organizer, what should we have as a conference gift for all the delegates? Oh, I've got an idea. What about one of my books? Or one of my tips booklets? Right? Just once you've taken from here and put it down here, which we are going to do today. Personal branding, personal development, wonderful. Legacy, community building, self-fulfillment. This is the why that's got to drive. So again, before we get into how you're going to do this, I want you to be certain why you're doing it. Are you doing it for money? Why not? Absolutely brilliant. Are you doing it to help people change their lives? Fantastic. Are you doing it to keep a record of what you've learned and you're sharing it with other people? Wonderful. As a friend of mine, Stuart Goldsmith, said, he said, when I die, I don't want to be a dirty smudge on the earth. I want there to be this big X that says, Stuart was here. Right? And he said, I want to be doing that with my book. So you could do it for significance. You do it for positioning, for a lead magnet, for a gift, for legacy, anything that you want it to be, but have absolute reason. And is this the strong reason? Is this a strong reason? Because the stronger this reason is for you, and I'm going to push you on this because that's what I'm here to do, you'll get it done. And I'm going to show you how to do it. But you've got to have that brick at the bottom of your pyramid of success. And that brick is your reason why. And it can be whatever you like, and it can be a number of reasons. So let's do that. Let's get that there. Great. Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you a question here. Now, if you've done this game with me before, please do not answer in the chat box. I would like other people to get the opportunity to get this wrong, right? And I mean that on purpose. I want them to get it wrong so they learn when they get it right. So this is part of the way that it works. That's why training is a multi-cursal rather than monocursal. We'll talk more about that later. So here's the first question. When you come to write your book, what is the first page you write? Now, don't put it in if you already know the answer, please. What's the first thing you write? Please put that in the chat box. Well, I have a swig of my tea. A summary, good idea, Andrew. Okay. The ending is another one. Okay, so Andrew says the summary could be that one. Okay, about me, Julie says, right. So it could be about me. Contents page from Terry, and why not the outline from Diane? Yeah, Diana. Sorry. Good. Profile from David. Yeah. Chapter outline. Yeah. Great idea. And from Noel. So okay, some more things. Chapter outline, sales page. Yeah. All the rest of it. We are getting very close. Let me tell you what it is. And I'll come back to my slides. I'm having to do this. Some of my kit isn't working, so I'm going to do it in a different way. What's the first page you write? Gosh, it isn't working, is it, at the moment? What's the first page you write? I tell you, it's the order form. The order form is the first thing you write for the book. And why do you write the order form? Well, because I'm now going to share with you the secret formula. Most people don't know this. That's why I call it a secret formula. The secret formula for lead magnet titles and also for books and also for marketing. Because it's such a simple idea, but you're going to take these away and you're going to use this. It's just so powerful and simple. So one of the ways of writing the order page is to do this. And we can also use it for titles. But you write the order page using these three. The person, the problem, and the promise. So when you write the order form out, and you know how to write an order form out, you filled out enough order forms in your life, you know exactly what they look like, right? You got the idea. Well, with this one, you got three things to put. Right. Who it's for. Who it's for. So you could put created for, or for the attention for, I prefer the created for, and mine would say consultants and coaches. And it might say, and anyone who charges fees, right? Or it could, yeah. So who's it for? And what's the problem that your book addresses? And now it could be the opportunity capitalizes on for somebody, but just for the moment to make the P work there, what's the problem, the major problem in life or business that somebody's got that you're going to solve with your book? And what's the promise? What's the promise? What's the benefits? What's the solutions? What's the outcome that they are going to get by reading and, of course, applying the idea in your book, yeah, or the ideas in your book? So the person, the problem, and the promise. Okay, great stuff. So let us get into this then. Let's see if I can make everything else work. Great. Let's get into the book writing system. Here we go. There are 4 stages of writing success. Please make notes as we go, because I'm going to go now, because this is easy. It's simple. Just follow along, trust the process, plug in tight. This works. You will have your book kick-started in just a few moments. Here we go. There are 4 stages of booking. That's what we do. We have to get the manuscript. What do we by that? What do I mean by that? Well, we've got to get the manuscript, we've got to get the words out of here. I have to use this in a different way. I'll just have to keep clicking on this. I've got to get the words out of here into computer, into paper, into your notebook, into your iPad, or whatever. I use GoodNotes a lot, by the way. You've got to do that bit first. That's what we call manuscripting. Yeah. So we got back to here. That's what we call the manuscripting side of things. When we've manuscripted and we've edited, because by the way, the writing's easy, it's the editing that's hard. Yeah. And what was it Hemingway supposedly said? I don't think he said it, but supposedly said, write drunk, edit sober. Right. So write drunk, edit sober. So we've got to get some writing done. We've got to get some manuscripting done, haven't we? So that's what we're going to do with that, which is wonderful. Okay. And then the next bit is we've got to make it into a book. So that's the important bit. We've got to make it actually into a book, which is a wonderful idea. So that's a totally separate process. So today we're going to make sure that we are then manuscripting. I'm going to show you how to do it. Then we're going to making it. Then when we've made it, what we're going to do with it? We're going to use it as a book stop. That's what a lot of people do. They go and buy far too many books. There's no reason to do that at all these days with print on demand. And they use it as a book stop. We don't want to be doing that. We want to be marketing. Marketing. Like, remember what I said at the start. What's the difference between those who are succeeding and those who aren't, unfortunately? Marketing. Marketing and sales. As I was talking to Steve Bimpson the other day, it's marketing and sales, not sales and marketing, by the way. It's marketing and sales. So we're going to be using the book for marketing, or we're going to be marketing our other services using the book. And then we're into the money-making side of things. So we either make money by gaining new clients, those ideal clients, the people we love to work with, or we're going to be making money out of the book or turning the book into other informational products. And I'm going to give you some more ideas on that. So having done that bit now, what we need to come is we must answer the 4 critical questions at the start, and you must answer these before you write anything else. Trust me on this. You'll have to take these away today and do it. Right. Here are the first questions. Who am I? Who are you? Let me give you an idea on this. Right. Who am I? Who am I? These are mine. You do this before you write a single word, okay? Here's mine. There's it. That's the answer just to that question. Who am I? So write down everything about you. Who are you? What have you done in your life? What are you passionate about? You know, what's your skills? What's your abilities? Yeah. Who am I? Just purely who am I? Then the second question, it's a shame that my other stuff isn't working there, but there we go. Not to worry. We'll do it. Who am I? The next one is, oh, excuse me. Who are they? Who are your people? Who's that person if you want to do it individually, which is sometimes a good idea. But who are they? Who's your audience? Who are you talking to? Or who's the audience member? Who's that person? Who's that ideal client? Who are you talking to? So who are they? So there's my who are they? You can see if I put it in there. You can see. So there's that one, who am I? That one, who are they? Next one. Who am I to them? Who am I to them? That's interesting, isn't it? Who am I to them? Right. And now let me tell you about how this works. So if I come back here, right. Who am I to them? I've got mine's written down here. Yeah. Who am I to them? Okay. This is weird, but it's true. I am Uncle Peter. I'm their favourite uncle, who wants their success maybe even more than they want it, will never accept any excuses, don't mind a few reasons, but will push that person, as I do for my nephews and nieces, to be the best they can be, as I do for my kids and my grandkids. You know, I've got 4 sons and 4 granddaughters, right? But that's my natural persona. That's me authentically, Uncle Peter. So who are you? Are you their best mate? Are you somebody who walks along the sidelines cheering? Are you somebody who helps carry them? Are you somebody who points the way? Are you somebody who's been there before? And you say, come on, follow me, I'll show you. Are you somebody who gets behind and pushes them and say, come on, keep going, keep going. Who are you? So you want clarity, absolute clarity. And then final question is this, and I can change that one back to me here. And who are they to me? Or in other words, and there's my answers there as you gather, right? Who are they to me? Or in other words, where are they in their knowledge of me? Have they never heard of me? They don't know me. They don't even know they've got problems, whatever it might be. Or have they maybe heard of me? Or are they starting to realise they need a solution? Or is it coming all the way through to people who they've already dealt with me? Because obviously the way you communicate to these people is different. So if the idea of your book, and please don't make this mistake, do not try and make one book do 2 jobs or 3 jobs. If you're going to make a lead generation book, you're going to make a book that is about like this. This is a lead gen book. Right? This is the retitling of this one. I originally wrote this one as How to Write a Book in 5 Days or Less. And people didn't believe it. It still worked. I mean, I've sent out about 3,000 of them. But then we changed it to this, How to Write a Book for Your Business in Just 10 Weeks. Right? You can see, look, there's the people, says who it's for, person. There's your problem, they haven't got a book. There's the promise. And there's the promise of what will happen. Attracts clients, increases your reputation, makes more money. Right? And it's got a nice number in just 10 weeks. Now, to give you an idea, I wrote this one in 80 minutes. 80 minutes, because all I did was a webinar. I did a webinar and recorded it and took the content of the webinar and made it the book. Right? So there's a very quick way, isn't it, of doing things. So you learn some great stuff here. So we need to be clear on that. Who am I? Who are they? Who am I to them? Who are they to me? So you must take that away and write that out. So then the next thing is, we're going to start the actual process here. So let me I'll go onto this slide here. Let me move that first. I've got a thing for you. We're going to talk about this titles. Okay, come on here. Good. So this is the start of the process. Here we go. Go with me. You can't get it wrong. You can edit later. What possible, hear that word in there, taught to me by a thinking scientist, Andy Gilbert. What possible title could I use for my book? What possible title? Right? You've got to get it right the first time, it's just a working title. What possible title could I have for my book? Right? And you can have lots of titles. For example, I created a report. If I put it there for you, you can see it. It's called Magnetic Titles. And in here I listed 17 different types of titles and examples of books with titles like that. Right? My book Paid was originally going to have a 3-word title. Right? This was going to be called Paid at Last. And then I decided to go with just Paid and the exclamation mark and make the strapline work harder. Right, so the strapline there says, reveals the 10 secrets for being richly rewarded for the value you deliver and the cascading impact you make in our world. So that was it. And it was clear who it was for because it was testimonial. So titles, and I'm going to tell you later about getting hold of a copy of the Magnetic Titles report as well. But start off with, so please now write down the working title of your book. Wonderful. Next, what we're going to do is this. We've done titles. Now we're going to write this question. Please write the question down because the questions are really important. Write down what possible chapters could I include in my book, or might I include in my book? Do I want to include in my book? But please add the word possible because that opens the thinking. Right? And make sure to put the question mark at the end because the question mark is the enter key on your neck-top computer. I wish I'd written that expression, but it's a great expression, isn't it? So what possible chapters could I include in my book? Question mark. Fantastic. And now what I want you to do now is I want you to write down at least 3, just while we're together, 3 chapter titles. You've got the title of your book, so you know what it's about. I'll play with you. I'm going to write a book on communication. It's going to be called Conversation, The Power of Persuasion. That's the title. Great, okay. What possible chapters am I going to do? Right, I'm going to talk one about eye movements. I'm going to talk one about body language. I'm going to talk one about openings. Okay, there's 3. Okay, so you've got 3. We've done that, yes? We've got those. Remember, we can edit later. And for this book, and we're talking about your lead gen book to start with, we're talking at this level, yeah? This book is 67 pages. 67 pages. 60 to 80 is about what I'm told is the golden place to be, 60 to 80 pages. So this is 67 pages. When it's a different type of book like Paid is 237 pages, right? It's a thicker book, isn't it? You can see, right? So 237 pages. So we're talking about that. So we're going to do that then. So what is the possible chapters? Great. There we go. We've done it. So how many do you need? 7, 8? About 7 or 8 chapters for your lead map? Great. I like it. Next. What are we going to do next then? What we're going to say are, write this question down, please. What are the possible ideas I want to include in chapter 1, the chapter about body language? Question mark. What are the possible ideas I want to include? Right. I'll answer that question, Jill, in a minute or 2. Right. That's why I'm in the role of this. What are the possible ideas I want to include in chapter X? Question mark. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to take one of the chapters that you've thought about, that you've already picked, and I want you to write down at least 3 ideas that's going to appear in that chapter. So pick one of the chapters, look at the question again, what are the possible ideas I want to include, yeah, in this chapter? Question mark, you must write the question mark, and then just write down the things. Don't edit it, don't edit anything, just write it down, whatever it comes to mind, right? Good. Good. Okay, excellent. So we're learning the process now. We're really getting into the process. Right? This is wonderful. Then what do we do next? Oh, we answer the next question. So it's all about the questions. Turn the ideas into tips. So you get one of the ideas and you think, right, if I'm going to write a tip for this, remember, tip starts with a verb, an action word. For example, I'll tell you what, here's one of my tips booklets. This is called 117 Ways to Grab Your Life by the Throat and Really Make It Happen. And I'm in the place about secure base. It says, learn something from everyone you meet. Tip. It goes on to a paragraph, but the tip is there. The second tip is examine and test advice. Like, starts with a verb. Next one, mix with the right people. And there's a little paragraph behind each one, as you might be able to see. There's a little tip, one line, there's a little paragraph, and that's how you create a tips booklet. A tips booklet is just the smaller version of the book. That's all it is. It's a smaller version of the book. Then, there's the next bit. So if you've written 1 tip or 3 tips, please, make sure you've done that, okay? And then the next bit is this. Oops, it's that. Expand the tips. So all this is what you do. Let me come back to me. We'll do this one here. This is so simple. You get a title. Oh, yes, that one. What possible chapters could I have? Let's have 7 or 8 of them. Do that. Oh, yeah, that'll do. Right, now, get the chapters. What possible ideas can I include in chapter 1? Oh, this. How many ideas do you need? About 7 or 8, right? Because 7 times 7 is 49. Let's call it 50. Right? And then what you're going to do is you're going to take each of the tips and you're going to expand it. And some of the tips are going to become a paragraph, some are going to become half a page, some a page, some are 2 pages. But the average will be about a page and a quarter, which suddenly you'll have a 60 to 80 page book. Boom, done. That's it. Now, the stuff to add as well, but that, let me give you this next slide. Come back to me in the slides. Here we go. That's it. That is all you have to do. And you've written your book. This is, honestly, people say to me, Peter, is it this simple? Answer, yes. It's this simple. I'm telling you, by the way, you can also use this process if you're a trainer for creating training courses. Right? You can use this for creating videos. You can use this for creating an online program. You could use this for any way of sharing your knowledge, experience, and expertise and your take on it. This is how it works. It is, trust me, you've seen all the stuff I've made over all these 30 years. It is this simple. Start with the title. What are the chapters? What's in the chapters? Turn them into tips. Turn the tips into stuff. And then you're going to add a load of things. So what are we going to do in a minute or two? Let me tell you what's coming up, right? Which is this. We're going to talk about how long it's going to take, what to put in, what to leave out. The book creation checklist, I'm going to go through that for you. The ultimate lead magnet, what to do. I'm going to do the prize draw and 15 ways to repurpose your content and the Q&A. But now I'm taking just a few moments. Where are we? Oh, fantastic timing. I'm taking a few moments because I want to share my adventure with you, where I am in my life at the moment and what we're doing. So this is the next step. Let me have a swig of my tea. Wow, fantastic. Here we go. Before we start, I've done a lot of work with Nightingale Conant and their boss, Vic Combs, a lovely guy. And he said some lovely things about me. And I want to share the one thing because I'm very proud of it. So this is what he said. I'm sure you can read it from there. I'm going to read it for myself. Thank you, Vic. Very nice indeed. So, what am I going to be talking about today and who's it for? Well, to start with, who it's for, well, it is for you if you are interested in me helping you make an extra £100,000. The great thing is, though, about this, and I'm talking profit, I'm not talking turnover, I'm talking profit, right? You get to choose the time frame. So you might say, well, okay, Peter, what would be lovely for me would be 20,000 a year extra over a 5-year period. And I'm committed to doing this, by the way, and I'll talk to you what it is in a minute, for 5 years. Or you might say, well, I want to do it for 3 years, 33,000 or 50,000 in 2 years or 100,000 in a year. And I've done all of those with different clients over all the years. And I've done with clients who've made nothing. And because it isn't the ideas don't work, it's because they don't work the ideas. And that sounds glib, but it's true. Right? The stuff I share with you works. 100%, it works, right? I can prove it, and I'll show you how I can prove it, right? So, how can I help you do this? To make an extra 100,000 if you fancy that. It could be more, by the way. It could be more than 100,000. It could be 100,000 a month if you want. I was working with a private client the other day with 127,000 already booked in for the next 12 months. Extra. This is the stuff we do. And the way I do it is this, in the Paid Up Club, right? The Paid Up Club, which is for people like me and you who charge fees, who help people solve problems and capitalize on opportunities and get paid for our knowledge, experience, expertise, and our take on it. And what we do every month is this. We do a web meet. And firstly, there's a meeting with me. It's about an hour and a half like these. And I show you how to go through, how to master sales with the right attitude, all about the right attitude sales, how ethical persuasion, product creation, how to run a successful webinar, seminars, product launches, building your business and a life of choice. All of it using real-world tried and tested and proven ideas. I show you how to use surveys for lead generation, how to use books, how to run the action agenda when you're having a meeting with a client, and everything, I believe, everything you would need in order to run a successful private practice. That's what I call it, in your private practice. We have a second meeting, it's about 45 minutes to an hour, harnessing the power of AI. To streamline operations and master contemporary marketing techniques. This is from Daryl. I have an expression with Daryl. Daryl knows the answers to questions I don't know to ask him. Right, he's phenomenal. Right, he does SEO. He does. You can read it for yourself. Unearth the method to transform your expertise into actionable insights, so you remain a key player in this innovative age. Right, and then we have a third session. At the moment, those are running with Dave, my son, Dave Thomson, and he really is so heavily into marketing and understands the psychology of marketing. I was talking to him today. A little test he's doing with one client that's producing just surprising results, and Dave shares those with us. The other thing about all of these sessions is this: to make it easy for you to implement, we make templates for everything. Let me give you an idea. There's a typical sales map. Right? This is how we put it together. And we give you copies of all of these, by the way. There's my simple survey system. Surveys are incredible for lead generation. Especially if you're reaching out on LinkedIn, surveys are just wonderful. If you fancy doing webinars, we have a complete process for running webinars, what's called winning webinar ways. And it's a 2-page thing. There's page 1, there's page 2. If you tend to get overwhelmed at all with your projects, there's Peter's project prioritization process. There's a nice lot of P's, isn't it, coming together, show you how to do that. I believe you should be really clear on your avatar, your ideal client, because I think the 3 things that are important are your ideal client, your ideal offering, and your ideal offer. And those are really important. And I'll give you a copy of mine. That's my personal one. And I'll also give you a blank one so you can fill it in. I'll show you how to use the story arc and how to write stories, or a checklist for persuasive emails if you do email marketing. And if you're creating content, I've got so many different models for creating content. So I've created this content creating system. And again, you access all of this as a member. We do a lot on copywriting. Persuasion is such an important thing, isn't it? So here's an example for you. How to craft magnetic headlines and make more sales without any previous marketing experience or copywriting skills. That is the same formula I used at the start of our meeting today, when I brought up all those things were overlaid that said how to without, a really powerful way of communicating. Copywriting mistakes and how to avoid them, how to do data mining for voice of customers, it's called. Creating your deluxe offering, which is essential. Got to have a deluxe. I've been deluxing ever since I've been in business. Back 51 years, we've been offering a deluxe version of what we do. Lovely quote from Earl Nightingale. I love Earl Nightingale stuff. I'll read it from here. Don't let the fear of time it will take to accomplish something stand in the way of your doing it. I'm not sure if that should be YOU''RE, but I've looked it up and it says it isn't. The time will pass anyway. We might just as well put that passing time to the best possible use. If you're going to do webinars, you've obviously got to invite people to them. That's our proven email system, and how to write an invite for a webinar. And the little dots are, I've got another document that explains what they all mean. If you wrote the foreword for somebody, or making £1 million product, I know how to do that. Or if you're running a subscription program, and how you create all the content and what you do with it. And we put all of those things, and all those meetings are recorded, and we keep them in the vault, so that you can access them. We keep them there for 6 months so that you can access them all of the time. And then this, which is fantastic. We also have the paid up club community and the recordings kept in the vault. And we keep it in the Kajabi community. We have members challenges. At the moment, we're having a challenges. What's the best book you've read and the main lessons from it. There was an email helpline. And this as well, I'll just find this as well. I've got to show this to you, is we have the Paid Up Club app. So you can find all the recordings and all the content and all the templates on the go. And there it is, it's on your phone. We call this, because of a couple of other things, because we're crazy, Peter in your pocket, right? So you've got Peter in your pocket at any time, whether you want me there or not, you've got Peter in your pocket, you can access all the things. And to make it bang up to date for you, I've made a couple of GPTs. But I've also made them into bots. So there's your paid partner. So if you want to know about charging fees and all the rest of us, that one. And if you want to write powerful copy, there is your copywriting coach. What I've also done as well, and we did this because before the change to ChatGPT just recently, in fact it was yesterday, is that we've also made those now as bots. But of course, even if you've got the free ChatGPT, which is now ChatGPT 4.0, even in the free version, you can now access GPTs, which you couldn't before. There's also a live yearly event where we'll get together. And that's included. All of this is included, right? We're heavily involved with a charity called B1G1. That's what the impact they've made in the world, 332 million giving impacts. This was our quarterly impact report. Our total impacts today, 503,000. But that gives you an idea because we like to do it. So that's you'll be part of that as well. So here's some of what people have said when I've shared how to do these things. Chris and Linda are pharmacists, or were pharmacists, sold that business, and they help pharmacists. And you've seen what they've done. They've made £1 million products. They've got a book. They've monthly membership program they've got running. Paul Allen, I've shown Paul how to put his fees up. Told him how to double it. He did it. It works. Hardly ever see him now. Too busy flying around the world making money and having a laugh. This is Sylvia. I'm going to make this bigger for you. Right. Sylvia said this, and I'll read this. Pay close attention to what Peter has to say. One of his insights has a profound effect on my business. Turnover before I met Peter, 79,672. 1 year later, 267,000. Next year, 384,000. Right. Steve Neal, I'll make this bigger as well. Created additional profits of 100,000 using the ideas and made 250,000 in just year one and generated around $1 million in direct income and blended sales. 100,000 from Mark. 4,000 a month from Koshi. 4,000 a month from Guy. And I've got loads of these. Some people have made 5,000, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, $1 million. You get to choose. You choose, right? Because I don't know where you are in your business at the moment. So how can I help you do this? Well, we have this program called Encompass, which is where my team becomes your team. And that's just a case of we have a conversation together. That's 5,000 a month and upwards, subject to what level of help that you want. The second thing we have is in my private practice, where I work with a handful of clients, I only have a 5 at a time maximum, 1 at a time, by the way. And that's 5,000 a month for 6 months. That's working with me. And with the Paid Up Club, this is what this is all about. Right. So the Paid Up Club membership is not yet £197 a month, but not at the moment. Right. It's going there. Charter membership is £97 a month plus VAT. However, right, I would like you to come and experience it. Be a full member. Get access to everything. All the templates, all the downloads, all the recordings, all the meetings, everything I've talked about. Right? Everything for £10. Right? You be the judge. I mean, I know it works. The members know it works. The feedback we're getting is fantastic. Right? But you come and have a go. Right? And I believe that once you've experienced it, you'll go, yes. And then the following month, obviously, it moves on to the 97. I mean, I don't know how it could be better than this. Yeah. So what do we need to do then to secure your charter membership, only 100 places, is this. There's a QR code, which you can do with your phone now. Right? There's the link, and Rachel will put the link in the chat box as well. So you can sign up there. And we've got lots of good time. Still going to do all these other things for you. So while you're just taking a moment, making a note of the link or pressing the QR code, I'll have a swig of my tea, then we'll get back to the content and I'll show you all those other things that I promised to share with you. Right, wonderful. Oh, and of course, got the prize draw coming up. Right. So you've got that detail, or you've taken a screen grab, or you've got your phone and you've done that bit. Excellent. So moving on from there then. So this is what we're going to do now. How long it'll take, what to put in, what to leave out, book creation checklist, ultimate lead magnet, prize draw, and 15 ways to repurpose. So how long will it take? Well, that's interesting, isn't it? You are going to be so surprised how easy this is. How easy this is. Let me show you something to start with, right? That's what 300 words looks like in 10-point font Verdana, okay? And the other one on the other side was 300 words in 11-point font. So I'll give you slightly, you can see the difference. So it's not many words, is it? It's not many words at all. Now, let me ask you this question. How many words do you think you can type in a minute? I know what I can type. I can type but I'm an author, I'm a writer, I've been a writer for a long time. I can type 72 words a minute. However, I don't normally type, I dictate. Because with the quality of microphones and voice to text these days, it's so good that it's just, I can dictate it. However, when you dictate, you must follow the system. I tried to shortcut it when I was writing page, because I know better than my own stuff, don't I? No, Peter, I don't. Is that what we need to do is do all that prep that I talked about. What's the possible title? What's the possible chapters? What's the content of the chapter? What's the tip? And then in the expansion of the tips is where you start either dictating or writing. So once you've done that, it's easy because you don't go, oh, was that in chapter 3 already? I've already talked about that one. Oh, you don't have that. You've got clarity. And remember, resistance is created through a lack of clarity. So that's what stops us, is we're not clear what to do, what to put in, and all these things. Now we're clearing the clouds now, aren't we? We're making this absolutely clear. So you know what it looks like. So how many words a minute do you think you can type? I'm going to play on the idea of, I think you can do a lot more than this, but I'm going to use 25 words a minute as the number. I mean, 25 words a minute, trust me, is a piece of cake, right? But let's say 25 words a minute. Now, this book here, How to Write a Book, this one, which you can see on the screen, is just shy of 10,000 words. Just shy of 10,000 words. So let's have a look how long it would take you to write a book of that ilk. 60 to 80 pages. You're going to use it for lead magnets, as a generator to find the ideal client. So when you're writing, not when it's in the book, because there'll be less in the pages, but when you're writing, you'll have 300 words per page, and therefore you'll need 34 pages. Does that make sense? It does, doesn't it? Yeah. If you've got 10,000, 33 times 300, so with 34 pages, you've got 10,000 and a bit. Okay. So you've got enough words there with 34 pages that look like that, right? So 300 words, and we've got 34 pages of them. Now, here's the calculation. At 25 words per minute, it's going to take you 12 minutes per page. Agreed? Simple, isn't it? 12 minutes per page. If 34 pages at 12 minutes per page is 408 minutes. Which is 6 hours and 48 minutes. Now, let's include some thinking time, and we'll call it 16 hours in total. Yeah? 16 hours in total. So, if you make a promise to yourself and a commitment to do this, then in 32 days, at half an hour a day, not an hour a day, half an hour a day, you'll have it finished. If you write or dictate for an hour a day, you will have it done faster. You'll have it done in 16 days, won't you? So paid, when I did paid, this one, I dictated 1,000 words plus a day for 31 days. Some days I was a bit short because I finished a chapter. Some days I was well over. And this has got about 37,000 words in it, something like that, right? And it took me 31 days of dictating. Remember, I'd prepared well. So you've got to do that prep. So let's say you then got editing. So you want 8 days in total, right? 8 days of editing, because it's all about the editing, right? So absolute total, 40 days. 40 days. So in 40 days at half an hour a day, 40 days at half an hour a day, it is done. Now, I mentioned about paid. There's paid, 247 pages, 137,000 words, right? 1,000 words a day, finished in a month. Okay, so it's not just wonderful. So I want to ask you this question now. And I'm going to give you more about what to do and all the rest. But now that we've reached this point, that you've got clarity of how you do this, you get a title, you get the chapters, you get the tips in the chapters, you expand the tips. Now you know what to do in the sense of timing. That's how long it's going to take. You can do it faster, do it slower. The choice is yours. But have you now decided, have you made a commitment to write the book? Because until you make that commitment, nothing's going to happen. Absolutely nothing will happen. But if you decide to make that commitment, I tell you what's going to happen. You're going to feel a bit iffy. You're going to get some butterflies in your stomach. You're going to feel a bit, ooh. Because your mind is saying to you, what the front door have you done? Right? You've committed. You're on the deal. You're committed to do it. But if you're serious, and I know you are because you turned up, right? Not only did you sign up, you turned up, right? So if you're serious about doing this, you've got to commit. You've got to say, I am committed. I have decided Where does the word decide come from? From desire, cut away from, is the root of to decide. You cut away from any other possibility. You've said, this is me, I'm doing it, right? And all you need to do is run one program in your head. It's running the I am to be verb. I am a writer. And as long as you say that, I am a writer, you can write. You don't have any idiotic imposter syndrome. You know great stuff. Get it out there, put it out in the world. So, moving on from there, have you committed? Great, I hope so. And in a moment, when we get towards the end, after the prize draw, I'm going to put some yeses in the chat box for this bit, okay? So moving back to this here, and we go back to the slides, how do you know what to put in or take out? I'll tell you, it's this. Because you're going to love this. This is 30 plus years ago, cost me £368 to learn this. I was living in back end of Leamington Spa at the time, on the just off the Myton Road. One of my kids was going to the school down there, Warwick School. A guy rang the doorbell on Saturday afternoon, and I went to the door, and he was dressed a bit like that picture there. And he straight away said, "Good afternoon, sir. Sorry to disturb you. Do you like to eat good quality fish?" And I went, "I like it. Tell me more." He said, "Well, do you like to eat good quality fish?" I said, "Well, I do, but what would you have said if I said no?" And he said, "I would have said, do you like to eat good quality meat?" I said, "What would you have said if I said no to that?" He said, "Well, I said, do you like to eat good quality vegetarian food?" I said, "Okay, fair enough. You got all the bases covered. I like the script. I'm enjoying it. Yes. Yes, I like good fish. Great. Come on in. Do it to me." I said, "By the way, we're going to have a conversation on more than one level because I want to learn what you're doing and how you're doing this." So we had a good laugh and he did it. So he said this. He said, "Okay, you like to eat good quality fish?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Does that include seafood?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Do you like prawns in garlic?" I said, "Why are you asking me that question?" And he said, "Because I get the best number of yeses on it." I went, "Oh, I love it." "Yes, I do." And we went through and he said, "So this is the process. And if you're happy to do it." And I said, "Yeah, of course I am." He said, "I'm going to ask you whether you like things and you're going to go yes, no, or maybe. Yes, no, or maybe." And I went, "Wow, okay, I like this process. Tell me more." He said, "So, do you like to eat cod in butter sauce?" I went, "Maybe." And everything he asked me, I said, "Maybe." So, and we had some maybes or no. That's all I never said yes, maybe or no. So I said, "What happens now?" He said, "I'm taking the no's back to the van." And so he got the pile of no, went to the back of the van. He came back and said, "What happens now?" He said, "Well, we've got to deal with the maybes." I said, "How does that work?" He said, "Oh, it's ever so simple. I say them, you say yes or no." I went, "Oh, I love it. Let me write it down. This is incredible." Right? So he started again. He went, "Prawns and garlic." I went, "Yes." And there we went. And I spent 30 years ago, 368 quid with them. Wonderful. So this is what you're going to do. If you are ever confused as you're going through the content and putting it into the methodology I've shared with you today, you ask yourself a question. Is it yes, no, or maybe? That's simple. Yes, no, or maybe. So what you do, if it's yes, you keep it in. If it's no, or maybe, you put it to one side. So you'll then have a pile of yes, which is going to go in. You've got a pile of no that definitely isn't going in this one. And you've got a maybe pile that maybe when you come to do your edit, you go, "Actually, I'll add that bit in." The no will be book 2. The rest of the maybes will be book 2, or even book 3 or book 4 or whatever it might be. That's how you do it. Yes, no, or maybe. But the important bit is this. You must follow the system. You must plug in tight to that system that I've been through today with you. You will get your book written if you do it in this way. So let me ask you this question. Have you now decided to write your book? You know how to do it. You know how long it's going to take. You don't know what to add in. Thank you. Let's do this in the chat box, please. Thank you, Andrew, for driving it, and Tim as well for joining in. So I'm seeing these things coming in. Right. So we've got Andrew says yes. We've got Tim says yes. We've got Steve says yes. We've got David says yes. We've got Matt says yes. David, oh, Miss David, it's moving too quick. David says yes. Satish says yes. Rob says yes. Excellent stuff. Excellent, excellent, excellent. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. John's saying yes. Andrew's saying yes. Wow, got loads of yeses, so many yeses coming in. I'm so pleased for you. Honestly, I've said this to people, I really mean it. Your life changes when you become an author. Everything gets easier. It really does. So we need to do this. Book creation checklist. Right, here it is, the book creation checklist. Let me get to mine so I can see it. Okay. So this is the checklist. I'm going to give you a copy of this. I'm going to show you how to get hold of this in just a second. And I'm going to also give you a copy of my book creation document. If I can find it somewhere around here. Oh yeah, okay, there it is. Yes. I've got a new cover on it now, but I've got this book creation document. And you go through this, you can download this, and it shows you how to do it either in linear form or mind mapping if you're a mind mapper. Right, so you get a copy. I'm going to show you how to get a copy now. Right, so book creation checklist. You go through your checklist and you make certain that you're covering all the points. So for example, you might not be able to see it on screen, but I'm going to give you a copy. So you collect the title and decide on the title. And it gives you 3 columns you can see there at the top. Created or collected, chosen and delivered. Right? So you've created it or you've collected it from somewhere. You've chosen which one it is and you've delivered it to whoever's going to do the making part of your book. Right? Then you want the book strapline. You need a strapline. So, for example, as you know, when I looked at paid, I decided that what I was going to do was do a single word title and then a long strapline to make that work. Right? Here's a little technique for you, by the way. You might look at this and go, well, Peter, where does it say who it's for? Right? This is a clever technique. Look at the testimonial. A must read for anyone who charges fees. That's who it's for. That's the labeling. And it's put in as a testimonial instead of across the top. Whereas with this one, the other one, where it is this one, it says coaches and consultants right at the top. Right. So it's just another little technique for making sure, right? Then you've got your chapter title document. You need your author strapline. And let me show you how to do your author strapline. You need a strapline as the author. Otherwise, you can see there's one below me. I could go, it's Peter, I'm Peter Thomson. I go, Peter Thomson, who the heck is he? Who's Peter Thomson? Oh, well, hang on, Peter Thomson, the UK's most prolific business development author. Here it is, hang on, I'll show you. There it is. Yeah, Peter Thomson, the UK's most prolific business development author. Or I've got this other one, which helps you get rewarded for the value you deliver. So here's 3 ways of creating your strapline, and you must have a strapline. Who you are. So that was that one, right? Who am I? There's a statement, who I am, right? Now, that one is a statement of what I do and what you get. Because there's 3 things: who you are, what you do, or what your client gets as a benefit or experiences. Who you are, what you do, or what your client gets as a benefit or experience by dealing with you. So when I do seminars and we create banners, on the banner it'll say Peter Thomson turns your knowledge, experience and expertise into ongoing streams of cash. That's my strapline for that event, right? So you can see that was this is what I do and this is what you get as a result of it. So we need a strapline. We need quotes. Here's the other things to add in your book. Quotes from famous people. Yes, you're allowed to put quotes in. Of course you can, right? You always credit them, put the quotes in. It's almost like they've endorsed you, isn't it? When you put the quotes in, that's just fantastic. Diagrams, you can put diagrams in because you want to make the book look interesting. For example, with this one, I spent a few quid and I had some cartoons made. Right? You can see I had all these cartoons made to add into the book to make it colourful and different. Yeah? So they're not expensive to make. And these days with AI, you can make them yourself. I mean, piece of cake. What about graphs? What about templates? What about cartoons? Acknowledgements you want to put in. You want a foreword written by somebody. At the end of today, I'll tell you the foreword I wrote for a friend of mine who asked me to write. And I said, can I be off the wall? He went, yes. And I wrote it, he used it, and I'll share it with you today. You want your back-end offer, because you've obviously got to put your bio in, and you've also got to put your back-end offer, your bounce-back offer. You need the blurb. The blurb is the proper name for what goes on the back of the book. Excuse me. You'll need your ISBN number. You'll need a picture. We need a picture of you on the book, don't we? Look, there's a picture of me on the back. We need a picture. Jim Rohn, I'm sure we all know who Jim Rohn was. Jim Rohn, wonderful man. And he used to say this about his books. He said he used to put on his worst picture on the book. Right? So when he turned up to speak at an event, people were pleasantly surprised. So that was a wonderful idea. Just a wonderful idea. So, and all the rest of it, you've got to get all of those things. Now, here we go, guys. I'm going to give you, free of charge, no charge for this, I'm going to give you a copy of your free book writing template that I talked about and the 27-point checklist. And there it is. You can see the URL at the bottom. Rachel will put it in the chat box as well. If you go there, you can download that for free. There it is. I took that screen grab of that website yesterday. So that's the book writing template. It's got the updated cover on it. There it is, that size there, if I showed it you. And so it's either got mind mapping versions or straight line. It tells you exactly what to do. You know, it laid out for you in full detail what you need to do. And also you can have that for free, which is good, and the checklist to go with it. So moving on from there. Right, so we've done the checklist. Now what we want to talk about is your ultimate lead magnet, right? So we'll get back to my slide so you can see what I'm looking at as well. So get back to the slides. The ultimate lead magnet. Wow, fantastic stuff. I love it. So what you're going to do with this is you're going to be able to reach those people not usually found on lists. And how are we going to do it? Let me take your mind back to the start. We're going to use the 3P secret formula for lead magnet titles. And we all know what it is now, don't we? There it is. It's the person, the problem, and the promise. So you are reaching out to people in the marketplace, and you are, with your lead magnet, let's say it's your book, right? Your 60 to 80 page book. Don't cost that much to make, £4, something like that, right? Just imagine if you put 100 books out in the marketplace with people who are responding and asking for the book. You weren't just sending them. People are asking for them. You did a bit of marketing, they asked for the book, and 100 people said yes. And you put that out in the marketplace, and there were £3, £3 and a bit each, and you put it in a jiffy bag and a postage, and let's say it cost £5 each, and you didn't have to do it all on one day, but you just put them out over a period of time. Out of 100 people who asked for that book, do you think you would get 1 client, 2 clients, 5 clients? Do you think that would be a worthwhile return on your investment in doing that? Answer, oh yes. Wow, what a way to market. Because when you put the title out, which is the person, the problem, and the promise, the people who put the hand up don't go, all right, then I might have one. They go, me, please. Because you've identified who they are, what the problem is, and the fact you can solve it. And you want people who put their hand up and go, me, please, not go, oh, go on then. Right? Remember, this is the game. Learn how to sell. Stop selling. Allow people to buy. You don't have to convince anybody. You just have to be convincing. How can you be convincing? Write a flipping book. Because you then become an author, which is author, ITY, authority. Let me show you one of our lead gen things I did years ago. I'll come back to the slides, which is this. Right. I put this out in the marketplace. This was made us so much money, brought so many clients, right? I changed the title slightly. It's got another line at the bottom. Nice long title. The Shocking Report. The 7 big mistakes most business people are unwittingly making. The great idea to put words in like unwittingly, because you're not being accusatory then. Right? You're unwittingly making. It's not your fault. Unwittingly making. Costing them a fortune, lost turnover, lost profits, and what's even worse, lost personal cash. And it then said, and how to avoid them. But this is an old one, as you can see. It doesn't even have a strapline on anymore. I don't have anything without a strapline anymore. But that's one of the old ones, and that was just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I sent that, to give you an idea of just one of the things we did. I sent it to Brian Tracy's list. 1,400 plus people downloaded it. I wasted the opportunity. We couldn't deal with the leads. We didn't have a proper follow-up process in those days. Oh dear, not these days. We've got it, well, I think we've probably got it sorted these days. So then the stage 2 is obviously, as we know, that's the manuscripting. We've learned how to do it. Then there's the marketing bit, isn't there? Right? And the making. So there's the manuscripting, the making, the marketing, and the money making. Now, if you need some help doing that, apart from obviously coming and joining in with Paid Up Club, then all you need to do is to take this little survey, right? This is what we call our process here, Your Book and Beyond, right? I like butterflies, and there's the butterfly book in the top right-hand corner. Your Book and Beyond, writing the book no one else can but you, right? Because you're the one, right? So all you got to do is to take this survey. It's a little quick survey, and you can tell me what help you want and all the rest of it. And what I am doing as well is, obviously we help people on a one-on-one basis, but we also do it as groups. And we do this every so often when there's enough people who want to do it. And so if enough people take this survey and say, yeah, we'd like to be part of the small group to do this together, then we do that, and I'll be back to you with all the details. But all the information is there, okay? Oh, Steve Ball actually says he joined on the basis of that book. Thank you, Steve. So there's the, you can see the QR code, which you can take a picture of. There's the Survey Monkey link. So if you take a screen grab of that. So what I'm going to do now, we've managed to keep up to date now and on track. Let me share with you 15 ways to get paid additional information. On the back of, 2 seconds, on the back of the United States dollar, if I come back to me, just one of my systems wasn't working to have to do it all, I'm having to do it all manually. Well, this is the United States dollar. And on the back of the United States dollar, which I'm looking at here, there's an expression which says, e pluribus unum, right? And it means out of many, one. And it's basically meaning that of all the disparate peoples in the United States, they brought them together as one, I'm going to use the word possibly incorrectly, unified group, right? So e pluribus unum. Now, I have an idea which is the opposite of that, which is this, which is ex uno plures. And what that means is out of one, many. So when you've written your book, or your book, whichever book it happens to be that you write, here's how out of that one piece of work, you can make lots of other things. So here are just some for you to consider. Right, I'm going to go through them. Here's 15 ways. In fact, if I bring the slide back up, there you go. I'm going to talk about 15 ways to get paid for your impact, your influence, and your inspiration, although it's there in a different order. Here we are. Let's go. Right. Workshops and seminars. So you can obviously take that content that you've created, makes a wonderful workshop and a seminar. Secondly, online courses. You can take whatever you've created as your book, as I showed you with this one, yeah, Silly Way to the Top, and this became this course over here, the Accelerated Business Growth System. This book of mine, which is called The Secrets of Communication, right, which sold at about £15, became this audio program with Nightingale Conant, and some of you may even have this, Conversation, the Power of Persuasion, right? So this has sold $2.5 million worth in this format like that. So there's obviously different ways of doing these things, isn't there? By the way, another way that you could take the book, there is my book paid, right? I hope this is inspirational for you. There's my book paid. Now look at this version. Doo-dum. There's the collector's edition, right? So there's another way of using the same information, creating the collector's edition, which is wonderful. Next idea is this, webinars. You can create the content of a webinar, or you could do it the other way around, do a webinar and turn it into the book, as I did with the other one. What about a consulting package? Yeah, using the same ideas, and that's given you, oh, hang on a minute, I could share this idea with my clients as a consultant. What about setting up a mastermind group and applying the principles from your book in a collaborative environment? What about a coaching program? It could be online, offline, whatever you fancy. Oh. What about doing a subscription-based program? As you know, I used to run the Achiever's Edge. It's there in the corner. You can see it there. Look at my finger on the Achiever's Edge. And I ran that for years. And that was the same idea as taking content, repurposing it. So a subscription program. What about making an audio program? You could do it in that way. What about turning it into a blog or an e-zine or whatever it was? I run TGI Mondays, which I've been running for every Monday morning for 21 years. I did number 1,102 yesterday. I actually do them as videos these days. And this is, the consistency you want putting out content. What about keynote speech? What about just taking one part of it and creating a 1-hour keynote speech that you could give, or a networking speech, or a 10-minute or 3-minute thing that you could use? What about turning some of it into toolkits and templates that certainly could be for sale? How about a membership program? Yeah, I've been running membership programs for so many years. Love membership programs where you get together with people and really help them to take it to the next stage in their business. So that's exactly what the Paid Up Club is, because people become a paid up member, where we're focused on helping people make more money more easily, more often, turning their knowledge and experience, expertise into ongoing streams of cash. That's what we do. What about e-learning models? You could do a mobile app. Oh, wow, you've seen what we did, mobile app. All of these I've done except this next one. But I'm talking about it with somebody at the moment. Virtual reality. I love the idea of doing a virtual reality seminar. Now, I've spoken at various events worldwide, which I've done from home here. I remember doing 3 in Kuala Lumpur. And I got up at 7 o'clock in the morning, because obviously clocks are the other way, and did my 1-hour keynote speech. Sitting here doing it like this. rather than having to fly over there, spend the money to do that, or just fantastic, right? But I fancy doing a virtual reality one. And the final one, what about this? And I've done this is really good idea, to take your knowledge and turn it into a certification program where you teach other people how to deliver your stuff. Because people will probably pay you to do that. So I think that is a good idea. So there's so many different ways of creating multiple income streams by repurposing, leveraging, if you like, the ideas that we've talked about. So before I do the prize draw, I just want to do this one, please. And then we're going to do the prize draw. So I'll get my phone because we need to do that bit. Lovely. So out of everything I've talked about today, what's the one or more key thing or things that you've either learnt because it was something you didn't know, or you relearned it because it's something you did know and you got reminded of it? But what would be your thing that you then said, yes, Peter, I'm going to take that away and I'm going to use it? What is the insight that you got? And these are wonderful. Okay, so it's going too fast for me to bring them up. Yes, no, maybe from Tim. Repurposing the material from David H. Thank you, Peter, from David. It's like, thank you, David. I can actually see you on screen there. Jill, need to action repurposing. Right, Steve, doing it right now. Teach others how to. Oh, that was Rachel saying that bit. Get started from Matt. Lovely. Additional benefits. Writing a book. Good. Initial impact. The title. Always have a deluxe program. Yes, no, very much so. The ease writing the book. What to leave and what to leave out. Tips and expansion. Brilliant ideas when I take the material from workshops. Actually, I could make that a bit bigger, shall I? Yeah, no, it's okay there. Training room. Action is the key. Top down with the chapters. Out of one, many. And it's so true, isn't it? Thank you, Roy. Very good of you. Thanks, Roy. Thanks very much indeed. That I don't want to write the book. A book, and I don't know why. Okay. Love the deluxe program, collector's edition. Okay, all of those go. I mean, there's so many more of those, which is just wonderful. So let's do, let me go back here then, and we will do the prize draw. So on my phone, I better come back to me so you can see me. If I come back to me there. On my phone, I have a random letter generator. Let me see if I can find it. I hope I can, otherwise I'm just going to guess. There, random letter, there it is. So look, I've got this thing, it's called random letter generator, yeah? And when I tap it, it's going to immediately come up with a letter. And this letter needs to be the initial letter of your surname. And the way it works is this. When that letter appears, if you are the first person to type your name in the chat box, you win the prize, okay? You win the prize. And the prize is worth £1,000, because you get a one-on-one, 1 hour session with me. You've seen what I charge. You know what I charge. It's £1,000 an hour. Right? I will make you a lot of money in that hour, by the way. I'm pretty certain of that. Or whatever it is you want to talk about. I don't mind talking about anything. But that's what the prize is. You get a one-on-one session with me. So here it comes. I'm going to press it. If your surname begins with this letter, put your name in the chat box. Here we go. Tap. 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 A. Like this. A. So whoever was the first in with A, has anybody put it in? I haven't seen it. I can't see an A. Maybe there's a leg coming in. Has anybody put an A? No? No? I haven't got an A? Darren Harris. I love that. You should win it just for that, Darren, right? Like it, Terry Marsh. No, it is. Oh, so we haven't got an A? And John Farrell's put John Arrell A. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Very good indeed. Okay, well, it looks like we haven't got any A's, which is so... I'm going to do it again then. So I'll clear it. And I'm going to do it again. So if you were A, you unfortunately have missed it because I'm going to do it again. Here we go. Surname begins with David Thomson. Yeah, Elizabeth. Thank you, Dave. Here we go. Oh, can't have X. I'm taking that out. Here we go again. O. Surname beginning with O. Oh, is Dave saying that she mentioned previously earlier in the chat? Maybe she's left, Dave. Right. So beginning with O. John Lee's boot camp. Oh, God. Does nobody's name begin with O? I don't think you can hear us. I'm reading it, Dave, and I'm not listening to anybody. Peter cannot hear us. No, I can't hear you because everybody's muted. It was Elizabeth Alexander. Ah, right, Rachel said it. It was Elizabeth Alexander. In that case, Elizabeth, you won it. How fantastic. Delighted for you. Delighted. Rachel, contact Rachel. Rachel will contact you. We'll set it all up. So now, let's do question time then. Here's question time. I'll come back to this one. Before we do that, let me just remind you of this. There's your charter membership link if you haven't already got that. to come and join us. You pay £10, get complete membership, as you know, for that month. If you need some help, here is with Book and Beyond. Here's the survey. That's that one. You've got that link, good. So let me come to question time, because I've got some questions, and you can also add some questions in as well. There we are, and I'll come to me, which will be there. Yes, Rachel's put it all in there. Delighted, thank you. You've got to go, I understand, but if you can stay and you want to hear any of these questions, then I'll answer these. Let me have a swig of my tea, and if you've got any others, then by all means put them in. Yes, Steve Ball, so talk to Rachel, please. The best solution, getting a manuscript format for printing. Yes, I'll talk. We do that. That's something we can arrange for you, because we have people that do that, right, as always. So again, I would suggest, if you want any help in that way, then go in the survey and we can help you in that way. Lisa says, no idea what to write a book about. Okay, well, I'll answer that for you in just a second. So let's just do this then. So this question from Marilyn was, after a difficult couple of years, had to take time off. So I want to get going, and how do I force myself to get on with it? Well, I think really, Marilyn, and for anybody else who has a similar question on this, is you've got to have a strong why. That's what this is all about. Until you know that why, you definitely won't try hard enough to make this work. So you must make why. So for example, Lisa has the perfect bookkeeper, no idea what to write a book about. Well, what's the biggest problem, Lisa, your clients have got within the context of you offer bookkeeping services? You know, is it that they're not sure of how to use the numbers in their business? What is that? Remember, you don't have to write a 60 to 80 page book. You can write a 30-page book or a 20-page book. Who knows? Who knows what people do? Somebody got a lovely answer there, bookkeeping for cats, because their name's perfect. But okay, how much money should you allocate to publishing and marketing your book? Not very much. Because you've no need to print loads of them. You can print on demand. You can select to go out with just a number a day by putting out your connections on LinkedIn, posting to your email list, renting a list, going out to it, doing stuff on Facebook, TikTok, doing stuff on Eventbrite. You can do all of these different areas for marketing, looking for your ideal client. If you're already on LinkedIn and you're looking for that type of corporate client, then obviously you can do that. If you've got Sales Navigator gives you, I think it's at least 22 different criteria that you can use in order to select people for your outreach program. You could reach out slowly to 5 people a day. Look at their profile, make a connection, reach out to them, and if they're the right sort of people, you could offer the book. And therefore, you start to put those out. So you're spending a very small amount of money to do that type of thing, right? Next question was, how much time a day to dedicate, James Land? Well, I think we've been through that, James, in the sense of you can see if you do half an hour a day, within 40 days, you'll have it done. Now, if you do an hour a day, in 20 days, you'll have it done. If you do 2 hours a day, it'll be 10 days. I mean, it really is that quick and easy, right? If you're writing the long form book, that's from Lawrence, a great question. I want to put this in, actually. If you're writing a longer book, right, then again, depends on your dedication. But this took me probably planning about 2 weeks, and the actual writing, the dictating, was 31 days. Right? Then the editing, probably another month, I would suggest, after that. Because you keep going back and editing, and then you print a few and you find out all the typos, and then you print some more. And it keeps on going like that. So until you think it's pretty much what you wanted it to be. Excuse me. Roy says, hi Roy, do I use a publisher getting normal guide? You don't want, no, you want to go to people like CreateSpace, possibly Lulu, Ingram Spark, people like that. You'll find online easily enough, and they will print for you. Right, they will print it. That's the way to go and get those done. Amazon KDP, Rachel's put in there as well. How long did the first book take to write, and how long did the most recent one? Well, I wrote the first one, took a bit longer actually, probably took me about 3 months, but the latest one, the basic writing is, as long as you follow the formula, and that's the key, then it's quick and easy. No, it's quick, it isn't always easy. Merits of self-publishing via paid publishing. Well, I would always go down the self-publishing route because I want to be in charge of the marketing. Let me say this a bit too broadly, but you'll take it for what I mean. Anyone can write a book if they know the formula. Where people become successful is the marketing of the book. Remember what I said right at the front. What was the difference between those coaches, consultants, speakers, trainers, accountants, people who charge fees who are successful compared to those who aren't? The people who are successful can do marketing and sales. Right? They've learned how to do that stuff. That's the important stuff to do. We know that, don't we? We know that's the truth of it. So that is really the answer, is go down the self-publishing route to start with. If you then really want to do a lot more, fantastic, right? Andrew, lovely to see you. Thank you very much indeed, okay? Okay, all right. So that's great. Julie, I understand all of those things. So next one from John in Perth, in Australia. I want to write a book with great content that people will read but not give away so much that people won't do my workshops. Now, this is a question I often get. Let me answer this for you, because this is really important, right? It's really, really important. How do you balance between giving stuff away in your book and people then still wanting to use you? I have found over all the years that I am very happy following Herschel Gordon Lewis's advice, which is this: fire your big guns first. Share your best stuff. Those people who need your real help will come back anyway. Right? Are there a few that will take it and do it on their own? Yes, there will be. You know, people do that with books. I'm getting some great feedback from my book page of people taking action with it. But you don't have to worry about stuff like that. You just have, you're not going to give away the ranch, obviously, but you want to give away some cracking good stuff, because otherwise people will read the book and go, this isn't very good. But if they read the book and go, wow, this is fantastic, and I get all this in the book, and they've got a membership program, we're going to join that then. That's the way to do it. It's that abundance attitude. I'm not saying you don't have that, of course, but you don't want any lack thinking going on here. People need your help to apply very often. Now, I've done today's this workshop because I want you to write a book. Now, if you're able to take this away and do it on your own, good luck, fantastic. If I can help you, fabulous. You come and join Paid Up, even more fabulous. Let's have more time together. I'll make you even more money. That's what we do, right? But I'm happy to give it away like this. You know I am. So I think it's that sort of idea. Down to how do I structure more? How to come to realize a story like mine, structure it chronologically. Yeah, I think it is. Always use your own stories. Doesn't mean you can't use some of what other people say, but you want to use your own stuff, your own experience. You've got plenty of knowledge, experience, expertise, and take on it, magic ingredient, to fill 10 books, let alone one book, So put quotes in from others, maybe on little bits and pieces. What I do, if I want to put more than a little chunk, I go to the author of the book and ask their permission and tell them that I will promote it, which I will do. So, for example, Robert Cialdini, I think many of us know Bob Cialdini. I've interviewed him, I met him, I've interviewed him, got the recording of that, really got on well with him, and I asked him if I could talk about his stuff. He said yes. And as a result, I always mention him and say his books are fantastic, which they are. You would do that, right? Overcoming starting blues. Well, you've got a process, because resistance is created through lack of clarity. You now have the clarity. You know exactly what to do to make this work. So, I just urge you to follow the process that we've been through today. All right. So why do I doubt myself? Well, because you're pre-editing and prejudging, Phil, on that, is that you're thinking what people are going to judge you about. Well, that's life. As Ted Nicholas taught me, one of the most important 4-letter words in the language, next. Some will, some won't, so what, next? Not everybody's going to love you. Not everybody's going to read your book and go, wow. But as long as enough people are, how many people do you want to read it and go, wow? Well, most people. Great. Well, do the best you can do. That's the way it is. Trust me, that is the way it is. How to market your book, we've talked about that, put it out there. Noel says, is it necessary to have the physical book printed professionally? Well, no, it's a great question, this, because do you do ebook or real book? I do both for different situations. Like today, I've given you an ebook, which is the template one, and I've given you other bits and pieces, and I do use ebooks. And I have my book as a Kindle book, and I have it on Audible as well, the paid book. So I use all of those various ones, but I like the physical book. And if I'm doing marketing, boy, you can't beat the physical book for marketing. Much better than an ebook. Much, much better than an ebook. Right? So that would be my take on that. So can I just, so those are all of those there. Thank you for all the kind comments in there, which is just wonderful. Jay says, how can someone like me that doesn't have a product benefit from this training? Okay, so are you thinking that you can make a book? What's the back end offering that you have? Do you do coaching, consulting? What is it that you do? Excuse me a second. Just I'll stop my microphone a second. Right, Rachel has a question in from LinkedIn. Because LinkedIn, the comments don't come in here because LinkedIn and Ecamm aren't connected. Facebook is, but LinkedIn isn't. Would the same process write if it was ghostwriting about an adversity story, so not a business book? I don't know. Basically, yes, but I'm not into writing storybooks. I'm into writing non-fiction. That's really where I'm at. So really, that's my best take. Sorry, Rachel, on that particular one. David says, yes, hi, David. David Reed. The question raised, let me bring it onto the screen, actually. David says, question raised earlier about 80 pages. So actually, let me move that up. I'll make this a bit bigger. Right. Question raised about 80 pages or so for a lead gen, for 200 pages for a book like page. Again, on that for different purposes. Have you any other different purposes you wanted to mention there, David? So what other things were you thinking about? Why won't that go? Yes. Oh, hang on. Make it go again. Thank you. If you put something in the chat box, I could try and answer that for you. Yes. The only reason I think of that is if with lead gen, you might want to make 2 or 3 or 4 of those books. And having them as nice, easy to put together, then I think that would be great. How do you feel about co-authoring? I do co-author stuff, and I've certainly done, as I mentioned with the Riches book. I did this anthology book, and I did one years ago called The Pillars of Successful Management with 10 people. And we used to offer that, actually. We used to do an anthology service, but I don't do it at the moment. But I don't mind co-authoring, but it depends on what the benefits are. My wife, Sharon, who's in business with us and bright as anything, she always says this, and it would be the same idea as co-authoring or joint ventures. Always joint venture up. Always JV up. And I think you know what I mean by that. So, you know, how does somebody bring to the party something you can't bring to the party if you're talking co-authoring? So let me just look down the other questions. How someone like doesn't have a good weekend? Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Well, I'm not seeing, we actually haven't run too far over, which wasn't bad at all, really. So let me finish off, if I may then, as Rachel's saying, come and experience membership. I think you'll really, really enjoy it with the Paid Up Club. Let me finish off, as I promised that I would, with this foreword I wrote for a friend of mine. Max, real great character, really enjoyable guy. Unfortunately, died just a couple of years ago. He wrote this book, and he said, would I write the foreword for it? And said, yes, I would. And I said, can I be whatever I want? He said, certainly. Anyway, I sat down to write it, and I don't know where it came from. Excuse me, just a choke in my throat. But this is what happened. These words just flowed out of my fingers. Here it goes. There is a moment in every person's life when the awareness of their destiny bursts like a bubble onto the surface of their conscious mind. It's at that moment that the weak avoid the realization and, feeling the taste of regret, busy themselves with the mundane tasks of their lives. It's also at that moment that the strong awake and decide to take the actions to change the world, their world, for the better, and by so doing secure for themselves their value and rightful place in the history of humankind. Seize the moment. That's what life's about. There you go. So I've loved being with you. I've loved sharing these tried and tested and proven ideas. Thank you so much for all of your inclusion, playing in the chat box there with me. I hope you understand the complete process and you can take it away and use it. I look forward to welcoming you to Paid Up Club if you decide to come and join us on there. Look forward to having a conversation with you if you've filled in the survey. In the meantime, let's keep going out there and making such a positive difference to other people's lives. After all, the income we get is a direct reflection of the outcome they get. See you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for your lovely comments. I do appreciate that. I was just looking at those before I click the go away button because I could do with some coffee. Right. Wonderful. Thank you very much indeed. I appreciate it. Rachel, thank you for all your help as always.